blurring the lines between real life and Second Life. Bringing you in-depth information about the people behind the avatars. Giving you insight like you've never heard before. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fourth Wall with Paul and BK.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fourth Wall. I'm Paul Slater, alongside my podcast partner, BK. Z's not able to join us today, and we have to start the show off with some sad news. This past weekend, one of the SL wrestling community lost somebody. If anybody knew who he was, his name was Wicked Clown. He was a performer at Premier Wrestling. I know he went to a lot of other shows across the grid, and sadly, he passed away. And on behalf of me, BKZ, and everybody, we want to extend our condolences to his family. And, I knew Wicked Clown a little bit. He was a really good dude. And, it's really sad to see him go. So want to send our condolences to his family and for their loss and everything. And I hope he's in a better place.
Absolutely, and for those who don't know that he was, that did know him as Wicked Clown, he was also known as the Wicked Hound for a short period of time. So it is the same person if you recognize that name.
Yeah.
All right, Paul.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to get right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get into this. I hate starting off the show with a sad note, but it was necessary because we do respect those who before us, with us, and those who are going to be coming through. So we just want to make sure that we pay the due respects. But with that all being said and done, that is not the real reason why we are here today. Do you see who we have sitting in the studio this morning?
Oh, I see who we have sitting in. Yes, I do, BK.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on,
real quick. I'm going to let you introduce, but I got to say something.
Okay.
BK.
Okay. All right.
We were in our pre-show preparing for this, and let me just say, BK was a little gaga today over our guest today.
Okay.
I don't mind it.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, she does have a very attractive Abby. I had to take the photo, of her and, for the thumbnail and all that. But, if Z could sit here and be a voice for the guys, I think I can do it with the females.
Hey.
I think I'm allowed to do it with the females. So, do you want to go ahead? Do you want to read off all of her accolades before we actually tell people?
No, you do it, BK. You do it today. I'm going to let you do it.
Wait, I don't. Wait a minute. She told you what the accolades are.
I'll do it. Anyway, right. You may know this woman. She's in WPWF. She's been around the grid. She's been VW everywhere. And it's none other than WPWF Superstar Lady Death. Lady Death, welcome to the Fourth Wall.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get right down into this. We're not going to give you time to catch your breath or anything.
Oh, good. That's how I like it.
Oh my gosh.
This is how we start today. Fasten your seatbelts if you're listening live. Fasten them up.
Wow. For somebody who comes in here and whose RL is also the SO, you're in here doing an awful lot of teasing. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right into this. So your name come up as one of those that people want to hear from, and that's because we take our guest suggestions. We do take them very seriously. And you have been around for a long time. You have been doing this for quite a while. And in our pre-show, you were talking about some of your different avatars and things like that. So why don't we just go ahead and just get into that? Pick one. It doesn't matter which one. Pick one of your avatars. Doesn't matter which one. And we'll start with that in your SL. How did the SL journey for wrestling of that particular avatar begin?
Oh, wow. So to start off with, I have, as I made mention before during the pre-show, I have Tyler Crisis. He actually started just a wee bit after I started Lady Death. In a sense, it was a part of me that I wanted to kind of explore, but not so much get into when it comes to identity itself. I was very curious on how to play a male Abby, in the sense, especially as a male wrestler. So I actually was gifted Tyler, in a sense, from my real-life husband, Natas Grimore. It was actually his who was brothers with one of his monster type wrestler Abbies, and he's like, oh hey, here you go. And so I worked on Tyler. I reinvented his image. I kind of made him this more masculine looking, like pretty boy, but definitely has more of a punk type attitude. But to get it really out there, to just sum it all up, he has more also has a bottom bitch energy is a little bit.
Jesus Christ.
And so
Another Sparksy.
so going into that fact, I kind of appeal to his more, or at least on my side, when it comes to like the vampire side, like Lost Boys meets Helsing kind of thing. And over the years, he's been kind of known to be the troublemaker, the potty mouth, the flirtatious womanizer kind of thing. But also doesn't hide the fact that he's openly bi, but kind of tends to tease more of the men, if anything.
That seemed actually an interesting character, really.
Oh, thank you. So I do currently have him at the VWE roster as well as the Honor Pro Wrestling as well. And he's just been a whirlwind of trying to get him out there. I feel like he hasn't really been put out there, but in my defense, it's more from my inward perspective on it. So it's just more of my hopes and beliefs that I can get him just as far as I've gotten for Lady Death as well.
Okay, so you mentioned a name just a little bit ago in your answer. Did you say Nada's Grismore?
No, Natas Grimmore.
I know who it is. Okay, so no. Here's the funny thing. Paul likes to bring up the story about when he and I first met, where he was introduced, and I, me being me, he didn't say anything on mic. He was, the whole commentator, and I was like, oh great, another commentator doesn't talk. You can ask, and you said he plays what part in SL? Your grandfather, is that what you said?
Who? Natas Grimmore?
Yeah. He played what part?
Oh, his moniker is known as the villain.
Okay. Well,
but he's also known as the voice of Detroit as well in his commentator days.
Okay, so speaking of first impressions with commentators, the first time I ever sat at a commentating table with him was in VAW. I come in as the heel commentator. It's very well known that a lot of times I get to talking too fast and things just don't register. So a lot of times I have difficulty with people's names. And now when I mispronounce it, I either don't say the vowels like it should be a long A instead of a short A or vice versa in the sense. So the very first interaction I had with him was he was coming in, he was doing this, doing that, and for whatever reason, I could not say his name. So the whole time that we were on the commentating desk, I referred to him as Natalie. So next time you talk to him, ask him about who called you Natalie. See if he remembers that story.
That is a first. I'm going to be completely honest. That is a first. From hearing a lot of people have that same difficulty with pronouncing Natas, they go Nadas or Natas.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was going Notaz, Notas, Nadas, and he kept telling me. I was like, screw it, you're Natalie.
That Natalie one bit though is a first, so I thank you for putting that bullet in the cartridge.
Yeah. So the next time you have a chance, talk to him. Say, "Hey, what's up, Natalie?" And see if and if he goes, "What?" Just see if he remembers. Just see if it clicks about how to start. Okay. So you just kind of gave us the rundown on your Mel Abbey. So what's the other? Because we're going to get to Lady Death in a minute, but you said you had another one as well.
Yeah, I do. Her name is Sophie. She's actually married in kayfabe second life-wise to Natas Grimmore.
Oh, poor woman.
But here's the crazy thing. So to kind of clear up this little web, she originally in character was married to Tyler. So Sophie and Tyler were married at some point. But we had this plan, this idea that, Sophie divorced Tyler because just was sick of his shit and everything, and went away on a weekend to Vegas, just party hardy like the party girl as she is. Crazy redheads, let me tell you.
Oh,
She happened to
don't talk about
meet.
redheads with BK.
She happened to meet us house there, and they party, and over the weekend they ended up going to drive-through chapel, and they ended up getting married,
So
and
they,
just
so they pulled a Triple H and Stephanie thing.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much. And now she just kind of rubs it in Tyler's face, says like, "Ha, we're married now." So you can go.
Or maybe that's why he's mad. She's not rubbing in his face anymore.
That's probably true. Yeah, but
Yeah.
in a sense, he's kind of okay with that.
Now, with these
Wow.
characters, where did you start them? Like, what fed did you start them in?
So with Sophie, actually, she's my now commentator alt. When I do have a chance to kind of sit down and tap back into my commentator side, because with Lady Death being my first ever Abby to do anything in wrestling, she was also who I started wrestling with as a commentator my first year. So once I kind of dwelled into wrestling, I kind of wanted to separate that. I didn't want to be known as a commentator and a wrestler, so I wanted to fully put my effort into wrestling. But on the same time, there's chances where I want to help out with commentators when we don't have enough, or I just want to have that similar feel again. I invented Sophie in a sense to where she kind of exudes more of my I don't want to say bougie type of sense, but it's more like honestly, I don't know. I don't know what you think. You're even better than me, but let's be honest here. I'm way better than you without even having to say it. Like there's these different mentalities of having to shift gears between the Abbies, but Tyler being my male wrestler Abby and Sophie being my commentator Abby, in a sense, just building this whole universe around them.
Now you're still active with them. Do you find it hard to go in between, like, because we had Zaya Jenkins on, and he plays a few characters in Premiere, and I'll ask you the same question I asked him. Do you find it hard to go in and out of characters, like, because you play such a unique character with the Lady Death? Is it hard to transfer, like, to switch your character and do like something totally different than that?
Sometimes it is, personally. It takes a whole like preparation beforehand to get me into that mentality of it, because there is a gorge difference between Lady Death and Tyler, and of course Tyler and Sophie. So having to kind of really distinctify it, I've gotten a little bit better with it over time with a little more practice. See, as was more involved with shows and anything else, especially in VWE, was more with both of their shows at the time when they were doing Sundays as well, Saturdays at WPWF, but it kind of gave me a little bit of perspective to see whether or not, like, if I can push myself to kind of really settle into that mentality in a sense.
That makes sense.
Okay, so that's your two alts that you were talking about. But now let's get in. Don't take this wrong way. Let's get into Lady Death. Shut up, Paul.
I didn't say nothing.
Well, but you've already
Hey,
touched on
I
that.
didn't say nothing. I didn't say I wasn't thinking anything. Go
I wasn't
ahead.
gonna say anything either, but I seen how antsy you were looking there, BK. So by all means, I'm gonna jump right in there.
All right, fine. Well, let's just jump right into Lady Death, and But how did the character and how did Lady Death? How did she get started, and how did she actually develop into what we know today as Lady Death?
It's actually been a journey about that. So as I mentioned before, I started wrestling with this Abby, with Lady Death, but not as Lady Death, as my commentator at the time as Myra Murdoch. She was the voice of reason, the voice of the Queen of Sweets. Depending on where I was, my moniker changed. At WPWF, I was known as the Queen of Sweets, but at VWE, I was known as the voice of reason. And at the time, my consistent commentator partner was Natas, when he too was more so on the commentary side than the wrestling side. And building this type of background for her, I've watched the shows for at least under a year, and I was so enamored with how creative the wrestlers kind of build their backgrounds, how different styles, their character gimmicks, and I was like, hey, I kind of want to delve into that. And it tapped more into the creative of me, so I was thinking like, well, what if I wanted to start wrestling? And again, I know I may mention him again, but Natas has really been a big part of my life when it comes to wrestling because he was also my main trainer. I've had several other trainers as well to kind of help me go through the basics, but he had helped me from the building blocks up from when it came to just the wrestling basics, ring awareness, the psychology, the etiquette, kayfabe, character gimmicks, everything. So building up to that, using those fundamentals, I put it together that, okay, well, Myra Murdoch, she has a little bit of a dark humor to her. She like quoting like these weird dark facts of old medieval torture facts during the shows just to kind of fill in during the pre-show. And so I kind of wanted to kind of meld that into something more dark, a little more macabre, but a little bit more that felt like me in a sense. So over time, been kind of building her up, making her seem like she's not really there. Her sanity is a little questionable, and thus finally when I was ready to reveal, I built this whole persona that she had been through a kind of mental torture slash psychotic break that kind of shifted her mentality to believe that she's this embodiment of death. She is human. She is mortal. She's not an actual divine or celestial entity where she's not, corporeal or whatever. She's made of flesh, but she just has this mentality that she is the end. She is the truth behind everything. She is death. So applying that to a lot of the scenarios over time and just seeing her evolve in different ways, it's mind blowing, honestly.
Yeah, but how many different, and we've all gone through it.
Mhm.
Obviously we've seen Paul go through it. Everybody was kind of making fun of, when he had the man bun, we were making fun of it with the twat knot with the hair. And then of course, he did the whole thing, with the suits, having fun
Mhm.
and Pepto Paul. How many different looks did you go through before you decided on what we see now?
Oh goodness. I want to at least, if I can put it into a numerical count, I think I want to say about 9. And it's funny you mentioned the buns because when I did start wrestling, I was kind of teased for my Minnie Mouse buns. I had these little like double buns on the top of my head with my long hair. And at the time I was like, but it's so cute. But I'm like, I can't incorporate cute with this character, so I have to lose the bun. I
Wow.
went I went from wearing like bodysuits to more like two pieces where I was wearing uh like rugged punk shorts and a bra top that just completely covered in tattoos to more something more dark and sensual to again bodysuits but more with lace and sheer. Um Ended up kind of delving more on this side when it came to the latex and everything, and I started to see more appealing in that way. So, okay, yeah, this is definitely the look I'm trying to embody. So, with the tattoos and the long nails, the very mean and intimidating looking face, and over time through my wrestling career, I've been through several matches that I feel like would affect her appearance. It's why you see the scars on my right side of my face and burn scars on the left side of my body. That was from losing in an Inferno match, and on the scars on the right side was losing through a Sadistic Madness match.
Dude, that's pretty cool
Wait.
though. I gotta say, real quick, that's pretty like the attention to detail that you have, and the
Yeah.
continuity. Like your face got burned, so you keep them scars, and I love that continuity because like in SL wrestling, you see a lot of people like one week they have one look and they have tattoos, and the next week they have different tattoos. But like you seem like with your continuity, like you're keeping the scars in your face, the scar, everything. I think that's actually pretty cool. Not a lot of people do that.
Yeah. I do tend to do change tattoos depending on how like it looks on me, because I do tend to favor more of the full body stuff,
Right.
or at least just nearly full body stuff. The tattoos do change, but the scars I keep.
Yeah,
Like,
that's cool.
depending on whether I'm wearing like long black hair or short shaggy silver hair, or even as you see here, long silver black ombre kind of thing. The hairstyles do change, the outfits do change. But so far I've been finding myself keeping more of what I've been wearing lately, which is more of like the bodysuit with like the bone armor over it,
Yeah,
the gloves and the boots, the mask and the crown kind of thing.
that's pretty cool. I like that.
All right. Well, you just kind of led me into it when you mentioned, you mentioned about the scars and everything, and
Mhm.
you said you got okay. The Inferno match, I get. Everybody knows my alt Insidious has had a couple of those or something to do with fire in the past. So but the scars. What kind of match did you say that was?
So the Sadistic Madness match, it's
Okay.
I kind of, if you think of the rules of the First Blood match, so the rules of the First Blood match, I'm sure a lot of everyone listeners know that if you were to make your opponent bleed, you basically have to win, kind of thing.
Correct.
So with the Sadistic Madness is you would have to make your opponent bleed in order to get the pin on them.
That's pretty cool.
So it adds an extra step to it. So you don't automatically win the match if you make them bleed. You just made it possible for them to be pinned by you, in a sense.
That's cool.
Oh, if no blood is drawn, then no penalty.
You can't get pinned. Yeah, exactly. And with this
Okay.
actual scar, I got it specifically with my first ever Sadistic Madness match. It was with Rikurahara at Asylum.
Okay. Now
Mhm.
that's very interesting. I had never heard
Very
anything
interesting. Yeah,
like
me
that.
neither. That's really
Yeah.
cool. What you
I don't
knew.
know if you want me to go in detail as to how, like, with what instrument was used to make the scars.
Yeah,
Well,
of
I mean,
course.
if you yeah, go right ahead. What happened?
So during the match itself, I ended up getting pinned on the ground by her, and she basically takes this like obsidian shard, or like you expect to be like an occult like dagger of some sort, just a jagged straight piece of metal, and she drags it against my skin,
Oh,
just all over my face.
I take it that you two are not in a sorority together.
No, but we have this really kind of demented type relationship where every time we are in the same room together, we're like, "Hi, we," like swooning at each other, because it has the same mentality. It's like we both know that we go to that particular level of extremity when it came to the matches. So it's like we only understand each other. So every time we're in the ring, we get quoted like it's like, oh wow, I guess Rhea and Lady Death are like having their second date or something.
Okay, so now you know what? We're actually getting to that part that Paul likes to make fun of people because everybody knows it's coming. It's not a shock, but I seem to put people on the spot. You just got done talking about this satanic match. So right now, favorite match you ever had?
Oh goodness. Oh,
there
that
it
actually
is.
has been.
There it is. It's always the same. Oh my God, or oh my goodness, or wow. You have to
People
know it's
really need to
coming.
start.
In all
People-
fairness, after 9 years, there have been a couple that
Well,
have been my favorite.
but at the same time, people really need to start listening to our show more because they know so they know the question is going to come. Everybody gets the same question, but anyway, yes, 9 years.
So my favorite, after everything else, I want to say for a singular match, when it's like 1v1, would be the Inferno match where I got the scars against Dahlia. That, honestly, the way I ended up getting those burns was a little comical on my end. I showed my arrogant side just a little bit. When the ropes were on fire and everything, and I had knocked her down thinking that, oh, well, I got a moment to kind of relax here, I ended up actually pulling out a cigarette from my bodysuit anywhere, putting it on and putting it on my lips and leaning on to light it. But little did I know that Dolly, and she ended up like kicking me in the ass, and I ended up face planting into the fire, and she stomps on me to put the fire out. So that was kind of nice, I guess.
How long?
That's
How
fine,
long
yeah.
ago was that? How long ago was that match?
This was actually, I want to say, about 3 years ago, I think. 3 to 4 years ago. I know it had been quite some time since then.
And you
I'm
still
so
have the
glad
scars,
that
which is cool. I really like that.
Mhm.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that I'm so glad I don't smoke because you hear all about smokers. Oh, when you need one, you need one, and there's just times where you just don't need one, and that should have been, that should have been
It
that should have
shouldn't
been
have been,
mandatory.
but I really wanted to emphasize the LD had a very cocky side to her, and sometimes that kind of became the instrument of her own ruin. So,
Okay, so now with that being, you're saying that was your favorite opponent.
oh, my favorite opponent.
Hmm.
Have a couple.
It's always that same answer.
Yeah, always. It's always the same answer. It's fun.
There's never just one. It's never just one. It's
I
okay.
want
Well, it doesn't
somebody
have
to
to be.
come on and be like, "Hey, what's your fit? My favorite opponent is boom, 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 boom," and just catch
Yeah,
you off guard,
exactly.
BK. That's my
Yes,
right.
it's recollecting on years of matches between tag team matches, Fatal Fours, Battle Royales, Exhibition 1v1s, and even like story and non-storyline type matches. But I will say one of my most favorite, and she's actually in the chat right now, is Karma Star. We've
You know what?
had this whole.
Her name has come up a couple of times from the female, from the a few females that we spoke to. Her name's come up quite a bit as being
Yeah,
one of their favorite
Oh
opponents.
gosh, to
Javi brought her
me,
up last
Karma
week.
is a legendary. She's been in this business a lot. She's one of
Yeah, she
known as
has.
the legendaries in Asylum. But what the plans that me and Karma had and the ideas that we bounced off each other, we had this whole cosmic entity type thing when we actually created our tag team or Boris. And it just kind of blossomed and developed into a lot of a back and forth. It looked like Lady Death was just kind of using Karma just to kind of have as an extra body in a sense, but in in LD's kind of mentality, she doesn't really respect a whole lot of people, just like maybe a handful. And Karma was certainly one of them because she, to her, was the only one to kind of exhibit and have Lady Death actually feel fear, which again is not an easy feat to do. I will say that very clearly, but Karma was one of the few to actually do that. So in a sense, within herself and to each other, she was able to just like, I respect Karma. Even though we had our differences and knew that I was going to turn on her eventually, I know Karma had this brilliant idea that she wanted to kind of jump the gun on that a little bit, so she kind of had this big feud with me about it, and we ended up kind of showing at the end that we're not parting ways as enemies, we're still parting ways as respected friends.
So why is it I'm having this vision of the only way that Karma or anyone could instill fear into Lady Death is for them to come out to the ring first, and then Lady Death come out, and everything be done in pink. Pink ropes, pink,
No,
pink
it was
attire.
nothing like that. So what actually had happened that showed that initial side of fear It was during a match of ours. I think it was facing in an exhibition match, I believe. Could be, I could be wrong, but this is recollecting on my own head here. We ended up somehow at the top of the Tron, and mind you, this was a second story type level to where the top of the Tron was kind of peaking right at that second level, and she ended up having the advantage over me and actually ended up grabbing me and kind of looming me over the edge of the Tron, like she was threatening to drop me, kind of thing.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah, not on tables, not on nothing, not on chairs. There was nothing there. It was just solid ground and everything. And it was that moment that I'm like, oh shit, I think she's serious. And the kind of moment I almost bluff on it. It's like, you're not gonna do it. And then she's like, watch me. I'm like, okay, you might do it. Hey, I know I've said a few things, but I was this kind of thing. But taking advantage of that hesitation, I ended up kind of turning the tables on her, and it kind of seemed like a real bitch move. But I was like, hey, I was desperate.
well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do for survival, right?
BK,
Exactly.
you know who we need on this show?
Who?
Karma Star. Because there's a lot of stories. Karma, I know you're listening. You have an open invite whenever you're ready to come on the show. Hit me or BK up because we want to sit down and talk to you because everyone talks about Karma Star and how great she is to work with and everything. And I think we need to have a sit down with her.
Yeah, I totally agree because, like like I just told Lady Death, her along with a lot of the other females that we've had on here, or not even necessarily on here, but even speaking off air, her Karma's name keeps coming up as like, yeah, really great matches, really great storylines. Somebody I'd like to do again, or we've even heard where a dream match would be with Karma Star.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I pride myself for having the chance to even have not only a feud line with her, but to be in a tag team with her for as long as I was able to.
Okay, so now your turn to answer this question. That's people seem to stumble over as well. Now you still have to finish answering because you said Karma was your favorite opponent. You said there was a couple of them. Maybe this will help. Maybe this will help kind of tie that answer into this one as well. Dream match. What
Oh, a dream match.
Dream match. That something that you either would do again, or had the opportunity to have that match, maybe do something a little bit different that you thought of, or just a match that you were just like, hey, this is my last match ever. This is what I'd want to do.
Gosh, I honestly haven't really given any thought for Lady Death because in my mind I'm like, I'm gonna keep going for a couple more years and kind of ride this high as I'm going in, and when things settle for me and I feel like my time has come, then I just happily not call it quits, but kind of happily retire off the ring. I know I had some ideas already for Tyler in a sense. I wanted to do a dog collar match with Natasha's monster character, The Crisis, which he and Tyler are brothers, but to have kind of like a dog collar match in the sense where they each are leashed to each other, just beating the shit out of each other.
Tyler in a dog collar match with Uncle Bobby.
Oh God.
Okay, so you're saying the only dream match that you have with your three Abbeys would be a dog collar match with Tyler.
But I think it would also, my dream match, now thinking about it really, is to have like a tornado tag match within like a mixed inferno match as well, but to revitalize the plague. And with the plague, it was originally The Crisis, as I mentioned before, and Lady Death, which it was mine and Natasha's first ever tag team ever created, which we ended up starting right as I was starting wrestling in itself in VWE. We had a very good run of it. Like, we had a wonderful outcome with it. We had a whole vibe going. We had the audience going. We looked like a pair of badasses, just completely coming in and destroying or just overtaking the tag division at the time. But of course, at the management at the time, kind of giving it more circumstantial, was like, "Well, you haven't finished training yet." And it's like, I've been in super shows. Why is this now a problem? It's like, well, you haven't finished trading, but even though we put you in shows for like weeks on end for the last 6 weeks and super shows, the last two super shows, we just don't see you guys as being able to hold the tag team champion belts. And I'm like, oh, well, that's disappointing.
Sounds like politics.
Yeah.
Mm.
But for reasons not going into that, it was like, okay, but honestly, that would be my dream match, is to have the original Plague face whoever tag team at the time. I mean, I can think of a couple. I know Shimmer would love to be that one again. The Underdogs. There's a couple of them. Even just at random matchups,
I was
just
at
to
the
have that
show
opportunity.
last week,
Mhm.
this past Saturday, following Saturday, where me and you talked, and that match you had with the Underdogs, Kimberly Smith and Joanne Steele. I mean, that was really entertaining match.
So I'm glad you liked it.
I did. It was really entertaining.
Okay, so you've mentioned, a couple of, karma stuff. Now, you, when you were talking about karma, you actually said, when I said favorite opponent, you said there was two. Karma was your first, or that was when you spoke. Karma was the one you spoke about first. So who is the other one?
I believe, was it Dahlia that I mentioned? Or who
No, you.
specifically were you meaning?
Well, no. When I asked you, your favorite opponent, you went, "Oh my God," because Paul started
Oh,
laughing, and you mentioned
oh,
Karma, but we did. But I thought that maybe with the dream match would have brought the answer for the second person that you mentioned. You didn't get
okay.
around to it. So who's your second?
Karma, yes, Karma was one of the main ones. Rikuhara, like I mentioned. Um, there. Oh, Anarchy, of course, is another one.
Yeah,
Anarchy.
Anarchy's name comes up a lot. Yeah, Anarchy comes up a lot too.
Absolutely. Even on the male side, Drewski, I see you there, brother. Austin Knight as well. Um, Even actually facing some of Natasha's alts as well as Grimoire himself, his monster side, the Crisis, and his female side, Dahlia, and everything.
Okay. Um, Now, when we were talking earlier, I always ask the question because, I've been questioned before as to, is this show really unscripted, and do you really not have anything, you just go in, no, do you just go into it, and just have
Mm-hmm.
a free for all? And in the pre-show, we were having, we always have conversations pre-shows. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I said is people really need to go back and start listening to at least some of our shows so they can kind of get an idea how we do it because we try to be structured.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times we kind of go off the rails a little bit, like Paul likes
Well,
to
hold
do when
on,
he
hold on.
talks.
Time out. Time out.
What?
We don't do anything. BK sometimes goes off the rails. All right,
It's
No.
controlled
Paul sits
chaos.
back in his role. I chip in. I ask some questions. BK's the one that goes off the rails. And to show you that,
No.
just go back and listen to the Sparksy episode and watch
You
how
can
he just totally
no.
derails the whole show.
You can no. Sparksy derailed that whole show. That had nothing to do with me, only
There's no
because I was
we in
at.
that. There's BK derails the show.
Oh god, Sparksy was a delight when I faced her as Banshee. I always kind of gave her the little jabs here and there. I think we also had some sort of like unspoken, just kind of not rivalry, but just be like friendly competition a little bit because we were two big, thick goth chicks in the same wrestling fed. So we were just like, well, I'm the thick Dobby mommy kind of thing. And facing her as the banshee and everything, I always made mention. I was like, typical, of course you're the screamer kind of type.
That's boy, y'all got me all screwed up. Now you brought back the Sparksy episode. You, oh my
Excuse me.
god! Yeah, okay. So yeah, every time I'm traumatized. Sparksy's episode, I think it traumatized me. I really
Yeah.
did. I really do because I can't watch real life wrestling now. I can't watch Rhea Ripley and Drew McIntyre the same now. I
Yeah.
just it just can't happen. But anyway, so going into the wrestling, and you said, "Hey, I've been doing this for a while." You said 9 years, which in all honesty, in SL for somebody to do anything for a prolonged period, for anything over a year or 2 years, is pretty extraordinary because it is SL.
Yeah.
Um, and you've seen the same things we have. You've seen the evolution. You've
Mhm.
seen some decline. You've seen
Ah.
you've
Mhm.
seen upticks. You've seen drop. You've seen it all. One of the
Absolutely.
questions, right? And one of the questions that we get to when it comes to the wrestling, we've asked everybody, if there's something that you think is missing that should be brought back, or something that's never been used and should be implemented to make sure that everybody stands out. Because Eric Stewart was very clear, about how many hours of wrestling that people in SL have to look forward to. And I think the number was what, 56? Was it
Yeah, it's a
56
lot.
hours?
56
Yeah.
hours. There's like some
Mhm.
Yeah.
30 some
So,
feds or something.
and there's a lot that you have to do to make people want to come to your show because it's so saturated. In
Mhm.
your time that you've been doing this, what is something that you feel maybe not just one fed that you've been there, a couple feds, just any fed that, and I'm sure you go to shows. What's something that you feel that people have gotten away from that is kind of making it to where, oh, your show is just like this other one because you're pretty much doing the same thing? What do you feel has been lost?
I think, and this is just again more of my opinion, but I think it's more in a difference of in community. I know we are all one community in the Second Life Wrestling um, entirety of it all. But I know with different federations also come with different perspectives of community key. There, some are a little niche, and some are a little more free fall where it doesn't have any semblance of community. But the one I do recognize that I felt like I always felt home to me is just the nature and environment we've had at Asylum, and we've always shown this air of togetherness to where it's like, hey, we're here for each other. If anyone needs help, we got your back. If there's something that you're not knowing that you're missing, you feel like you need help on, just ask anybody. You don't have to ask a specific person in management. You don't have to ask like just HR if it's just needing somebody to talk to. And I feel like that's more so the place than I've been anywhere else. Not to take away that same sense of community from like any of the other feds I've been in. I'm pretty sure they're all closely knit and everything. But I feel like that type of feeling where it's just that community sense should be more involved and more outward, like easily sought out and felt for, even for someone new coming into this type of industry, to be felt right away. Because it's a lot of the times I've seen where people get snubbed for because they don't know enough,
Yeah.
or that they're not too saturated or too well in depth when it comes to this type of sport, and that's perfectly understandable. In all honesty, I've never watched wrestling in my life. I've never watched it. Still
Wow.
have not watched it. Yeah, and I've been in this business
Oh,
for like.
hold
Wait,
on,
wait,
hold
wait,
on.
whoa, whoa,
Time
whoa,
out.
whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa. Oh,
time
yeah.
out.
Hold on, back up.
All right, then I kind of figured that'd be the bookmark.
I never heard that answer before, and we got.
I have,
How did you get into SL wrestling if you never ever watched wrestling?
right.
So to kind of go off on that tangent a little bit, then I was kind of at a weird like mellow type purgatory point in my life, and I actually had a friend of mine who I knew through World of Warcraft told me about Second Life. So I gave it a shot. I popped on there on kind of exploring the places, the clubs, the hangouts, the arcades, all this and that. And as I made mention, Nataz Grimoire was the one who brought me over, and he started either not just started, but it was in VAW at the time. And he goes to me, it's like, hey, if you want something to do, you can come check out the shows that we have here. We do wrestling here. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, I don't have anything else to do here. So I go over and I'm watching, and it's just like, wow, seen how ostentatious the gimmicks are and how much effort people put into just coming out for like entrances, their intros, the way they carry themselves during the match, after the match, or even like skirmishes and feuds and everything. And I just got so enamored with it. So I was just pestering him about it. It's like, hey, so when's your next match? When's your next show? Kind of thing. I really want to come. And more frequent it became to where he was like, hey, if you want to be a part of this, I would be happy to show you the ropes, be happy to show you the ins and outs and everything. And that's how me starting as a commentator worked. Not by watching wrestling ahead of time, because he's the one who's had real life wrestling experience. He's done backyard wrestling. But me coming in as a complete green around the gills kind of person and just kind of watching and studying, seeing the different styles of fighting, the different character gimmicks, the type of way that people carry themselves and everything, it just made me kind of delve into more. So watching more shows, commentating more shows, and after a whole year, I just kind of took the plunge. And from there, it's been a learning experience while being more of a hands-on experience.
So you learned basically about wrestling through SL wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
Do you do it like because like I mean, this is crazy. Like, you talk about throwing people off guard. I'm kind of off guard that you never watch wrestling. But
Right.
do you do it for the aspect of like you like entertaining people, you like being creative, you like doing different things?
Mm-hmm.
Is that why? Is that one of the big reasons why you like doing it?
Yeah, it helps kind of appeal to more of my creative storytelling
Right.
side of me. So I feel like, because I used to do a whole lot of like role play stories and World of Warcraft and everything like that. Yeah, but
Why did
kind of
why
delving
did you
into
lower
this.
your voice like you were trying to tell us a secret about that? I kind of do
Yeah.
like
It was a weird part of my life.
Well, we just had Zay on here 2 episodes ago, and he's talking about being Dungeons and Dragons. So come on.
Oh, I love me some Dungeons and Dragons. All right,
See?
so
Here you go. Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around all this now.
Mhm,
And you've been doing this for 9 years in SL, and
mhm.
you have never even watched
Mm,
one show, one broadcast of wrestling to say,
I
okay, I'm doing it in SL. Let me see what the allure is.
I actually, okay, so I did kind of jump into, like, there was watch parties during like WrestleMania and everything, and this was either in the VWE crowd or the WPWF crowd, any type of group of wrestlers that's just like, hey, let's get together and watch WrestleMania. This is gonna be amazing. So I sat down and was watching like a majority of it and everything, and it was a pretty fun experience. But for some reason, I always have this sense of disconnect, even though we're basically kind of doing the same type of thing. But it's like, to me, with wrestling from like WWE or AEW kind of thing, it doesn't feel kind of like it's in the same universe that I'm doing in Second
Right.
Life
That
kind
makes
of
sense.
thing.
Actually, that makes sense in a little way. Yeah.
Well, I
And it's
mean,
not to take away from like it's entertaining to watch and everything. Like, yeah, you gotta love how the wrestler divas getting each other's faces, or the guys kind of showing who has the most machismo and everything. It's no different than Second Life.
she doesn't watch wrestling, but she knows what machismo is. Okay, I just caught you. I call bullshit.
I've never watched it. I've maybe seen like bits here and there, but not a whole collective show from beginning to end ever.
That's just really amazing to me that
It
somebody
is.
got into wrestling and is not a wrestling fan. Be- because Paul and I had a conversation a while back, well over a year ago, and we were actually having a conversation with Heather and Paul. I don't know if you remember this conversation. We were having, and somebody was wanting to come in and learn how to train to be a wrestler. And what I said was what people need to do is they need to learn different aspects of it. Like they should start off on comms
Yep.
so they can learn how things move in the ring and they
Oh,
can learn
absolutely.
different moves. And then move into the ref where you can be in there and you can learn how to move around. And you basically just said that you did, minus the reffing part, you did what I've been suggesting. You said you started out on comms before you ever even got into the ring.
Yeah.
So you learned wrestling by calling it,
Yeah.
not by doing it, by calling it.
But funny enough that, yeah, it was through commentating that I kind of, like I said, different aspects of it, the different styles, alignments, character gimmicks, and everything. But it had been a continuous learning experience as I've gone through my career. Starting off, I was completely nervous. I was just at my wit's end, but I was given an opportunity to be built up as this monster, this type of force of nature to go through the roster the way I did. But of course, being that my main losses were against champions. I had never lost a match if it wasn't against champions. I literally plowed through the roster once or twice through my first year of wrestling. But through those experiences, I was able to understand the different aspects of my opponents, like those who are more agile, more aerialist, more tactical, powerhouses, more MMA style, more jujitsu, more karate, anything of the type. It gave me that sense of perspective. So I took that, and with each opponent that I face, it's helped me understand, like, okay, I am this 5'11" force of nature weighing at 100. I'm facing someone who's about 5'6" and like 130 pounds soaking wet. I honestly believe she can get the runaround on me if she really put into dexterity and agility, and just more so of being able to take me on, to be able to kind of give a very great show. Because that's all the focus was just wanting to put out a good match.
Well, yeah, that's one thing that I tell everybody, and I don't make it a secret that I don't care if I'm match number one, match number two, if I'm mid card, if I'm main event. When I go out there for my match, I want my match to be remembered. I don't. I mean, I do want the show to be a great show, but I always go out there to steal the show.
Oh,
That's my
absolutely.
intention. That's my intention is to either, okay, I'm going to go out there match one and I'm going to set the bar. So please follow this. Or I go out in the middle and say, okay, you guys did great. We still got the main event. So let's give them something to get really hyped about. So let's focus on the center and then work. Or if I'm in the main event, yeah, good luck, guys. Watch this. That's my
Yeah,
goal. That's my
absolutely.
goal. That's my goal is to make people say, oh, if we got to go behind him or in front of him, let's pull out all the stops.
Absolutely. I take the wins and losses where they are. If the belts are involved, sure. The way it started, that LD basically just cares about the body count, and not in that sense, just more so how many opponents she can defeat in her career. And I'm pretty sure it's kind of gone into, like, if not the peaking out double digits, almost into the triple.
So a whole new faction: LD, Anarchy, and Sammy.
Oh, gee.
Wait, and we
That has been brought up before, yeah.
hold on. But in fairness, we also have to bring Banshee in on that, even though she may be more like a supportive role. But put the four of you women together and just put you in any fed, and I don't think anybody. I think even the guys would go like, "Hey, we're good. Yeah. Go ahead. All right.
Jesus.
All right. So let me hold
Well,
on, BK. I got something. So real quick. So we
uh,
we do YouTube. We have our show on YouTube. And we also have our show on Dark Star Radio. So one of the requests from the listeners who listen to Dark Star Radio is they want to learn more about what you do. Like we know you do wrestling. We know you love wrestling and all that. But you're logging into SL and you don't have no wrestling. You have no preparing to do. What does LD do on a normal night?
Wow.
what the hell was that?
I have no idea.
So what do you
Okay,
do on a regular night? And you come in, you're gonna do SL. What are some of the things you like doing?
So, on a lot of the main things I'll like to end up doing, which kind of shows a little bit of my side, it's more just kind of rating shopping events. I literally subscribe to like 9 of them and just know when the dates of when they open are, and I just kind of window shop.
We all do that. Yeah.
But I also actually tend to DJ on free time that I can, and I also am a dancer,
You're a dancer. A dancer,
an
BK.
exotic,
Whoa, calm
an
down,
exotic
BK.
dancer.
Take it easy.
Hey, I'm
Take
good.
it easy, BK.
I'm I'm fine with that. I'm okay about being a dancer. Z was a dancer, and look what happened with her.
Not
I,
of
hey,
the exotic
hey,
nature, but yeah.
hey, hey,
Yeah,
I will. Hey, I was a male.
we're gonna need that
I've been a male
landmark.
dancer.
We're gonna need that
I've been a male.
landmark.
Yeah, but I've been a male dancer in here too, so I understand. I completely get it.
Yeah,
I
we're
used to
gonna
We
do
could
we're
do
that.
wonderful ladies' night, honestly.
we're gonna need to know
Yeah.
where you dance at. By the way.
Yeah. Right. All
Abstract
right. Well,
Gentlemen's Club.
all right. We'll get to that in just a second. All right. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know how you're thinking about it. Let us know what you think about it. Sound off in the comments. Let us know what you think about each of these episodes. Today's episode is being brought to you by Dark Star Radio at darkstarradio.com, Aaron's Domain, Limitless Pro Wrestling, aka LPW, and Premier Wrestling, aka PW. All right, so let's get back to this dancing thing. Hey, Paul, you were the one that brought it up. I was gonna let it
Hey,
go, but
me and you, BK, are like, we've known each other a long time. I know what you're thinking sometimes. Go ahead.
you have no idea what I'm thinking sometimes. Although,
Mm.
even though for me it's not hard to figure out what I'm thinking because I usually just come out and say it anyway.
Yep.
Okay, so you got the dancing background, you got the wrestling background in SL. Now,
Mm.
Mike, when I first came into SL, it's been over a decade, and in all honesty, at that time, it was basically you went to a club, you went dancing, you learned how to DJ, you learned how to host, and that
Mhm.
was pretty much what SL was at that time. So you went into the dancing aspect, which is something that you are still doing. What else have you done besides the wrestling and the dancing?
Well, I've also taken up DJing on times where I have a free weekend or at least a free evening kind of thing. I kind of mix my own styles of music. It kind of revolves more around like um K-pop, classic rock to more of the alternative grunge type of thing. Like kind of throwing out little favorite bands of mine like Falling in Reverse, Motionless in White, Dark Divine, In This Moment, a lot of those
Oh,
names.
Z's gonna fall in love with you when she hears
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And
Well,
I've
yeah,
also been taking in photography, at least in the sense modeling, doing some pictures, whether it be more risque, if anything, or just kind of showing off a new outfit I ended up getting for myself or for one of my avies. Creating fantasy type scenarios for pictures. I have a plethora.
well, I showed you one of the first ones I did as Z, so I completely understand. And doing the photography, I completely understand
Yeah,
that too.
absolutely, BK. You did definitely show me
Oh,
yours, and I showed you mine.
he absolutely did.
Uh,
He went a little over the top with all the pictures I got in the box for the show.
well, no, that's because like I said, when I take the photos for the thumbnails and all that, I want the best one, and I use different lightings, and then I narrow it down. But this is the first, and no lie, as many people as we had here, as many awesome and great looking abbeys, for whatever reason, Lady Death is very photogenic, and every time the light would hit her, it's like, oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's an even better one. So I think I got like 30 shots for a freaking thumbnail I got to go through now.
Sheesh, BK. You're just gonna want to make me blush. Damn.
Well, no, but it's like I said before. No, it's like I said before, and it's the honest truth. It's for us guys, and it's for when you go through and you spend the money that we spend on the avatars, the bodies that we have to get, and then the hair that you have to find, and you
Mhm.
spend the money, and then you take the time to go through and you tweak it, like yes, and I know women do. You got the women who, and all. Like I said before, I'm an ass man. No, but if she's got an ass, I'm gonna look at it because if you took the time to make it look like that, then I'm going to admire it and appreciate it. I really am. But it's all the money. It's like all the money that you spend on this. It's like you do that. It's like, why would you not want to show it off every chance you get?
Right. And that kind of actually falls into when
Oh
I
my
started getting
God.
into pictures and everything,
Okay.
kind of doing modeling stuff.
Okay, so for those of you all who are listening to us on Dark Star Radio, you all sometime or another need to come in here and catch one of these episodes live because we're sitting here talking. I made the mistake of saying I'm an ass man, and we have so many
Yup.
people
I
here
knew that
throwing
was
up,
coming. I knew it was coming as soon as
throwing
you
up.
said it.
We had people in here throwing up gifts, and one of the gifts is Brian, or excuse me, not Brian. Brian's the dog. Peter
Peter,
from
Peter
yep.
Griffin.
Family Guy, who is basically twerking in booty gym shorts, and it's throwing me completely off of the
Courtesy of
conversation.
my man Hammer. My man Hammer
Yeah,
on guard with that.
Oh yeah, that's not
yeah.
surprising from
And
Hammer.
and speaking of Hammer, we are supposed to get Hammer on the show very soon, so we got to get with him anyway. But But yeah, if you're going to take the time to,
hmm
make your Abby, I'm going to appreciate it. And just so happens that you have one, you took the time, and the camera loves you, so I was taking advantage of it.
Well, because you've been such a very charming sport about it, BK, I'll let you in on a little secret.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
On
Oh,
my right cheek, I actually have the name Dommy Mommy Death on there.
Dommy Mommy Death.
hmm
Well, guess what picture we're doing next?
Oh man. As soon as this show's over, probably BK.
No, I can't do it when the show's over. Got Ariel to do it. I really,
So
really
I
don't.
have, I have a
But yeah,
question. I have a question. I want to go. It's. You said that you're an exotic dancer, right? How many weirdos when you're dancing get in your box like at night, like slide into your DMs? How many weird, crazy moves? I'm sure you have a ton of them. Like how many? Like how crazy people like this come in and say dumb shit and whatever. How often does that happen?
Oh, I've gotten to where they try to appeal like they're trying to be charming about it or trying to be very suave about it, but they have as much suave or like smoothness as chunky peanut butter at times. They make their intents very clear, right? Like through the second line where they say, "Hi, you're really hot." I'm like, "Thanks. Cool. Do you want to come back to my place?" I'm like, "Wow, that took no time whatsoever." A lot of the time they just go right straight to the point, right? At the first line it's like, "Hey, do you want to come like get ridden on or some shit like that?" And it's like, no.
okay, so here's now I can relate to this one. Okay, so when I never consider myself to be a great dancer because I can emote, but there's only so many things that you can start doing where you're not just being blatant about it and you're trying to, figure out these very exotic type words or these things, to go in and do it to where you're not just going seductively bends over at the waist, blah blah yada yada yada.
Right.
So I had this I was dancing at this one place, it was my shift, and
Accurate. Emma.
and a lady come in, and I think the tip was like 500 linden or whatever. So you know how it works. The bigger the
hmm
tip, the better the emote needs to be. So I
hmm
went through this very long emote, blah blah yada yada yada, and all of a sudden I get this I am from her, and she comes up and says, "If you keep emoting like that, I'm going to tip you enough. You're going to come home with me, and I'll make you leave your partner." And I went. And I come back and I said, there
Jesus.
ain't no, I said, and I got that one time and I come back and said, there ain't nobody that good that's going to make me leave Z. This is not going
That
to
that
happen.
one tends to have more a bit of a like a higher, more like, oh, I think I'm hot shit kind of mentality. I at least try to keep it humble and everything because I don't appeal to everybody's taste. I understand that reality at least.
Yeah.
So those I do appeal to and everything. I kind of help sell the fantasy a bit. I don't go like 3 paragraphs into emotes. I at least kind of give a description of the scenario in the moment, kind of thing.
Now, do you
Yeah,
enjoy
that,
like do
yeah.
you enjoy doing it? Like, is it fun for you to do that?
Oh, absolutely. There are times where people are pretty good sport about it and actually kind of reciprocate the same type of air that you're trying to give, the same type of vibe you're trying to give. It can be a lot of fun. But then, of course, there's some weirdos that, like, you give the fantasy and they're like, strokes your hair. That's it. 3 words. And I'm like,
Okay. Okay, well, here's something. Okay, so you're a dancer, or you have been, and you've been. Why don't you just become a dancing DJ?
Oh, I've been a dancing DJ. There have been times where I was just kind of more cavalier about it. It's like, hey, you tip me like about more than 1,000, I'll just take my clothes off. There you go.
Wait, what? Whoa, 1,000?
Wow.
Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on. I gotta go to the ATM.
Hold on, where's this took a total left turn here, man. This podcast. We lost. We did derail this together, BK, you and I. All right? This is a we thing today.
See, it's not always my fault. It is not always my fault. You have to blame
It's a
me.
team effort in this case.
Well, I mean, the whole thing, because the way my mind works, and and God bless my real life and Z, because they can put up with me and my twisted sense of humor. But like earlier, when Lady Death was talking about, she was saying, she was talking about a character and this and that and everything else, and she's like, "Oh, all she's doing is looking for his bodies," which means total destruction. And the only thing that I could think, and the only thing, because my mind, how my mind works, the only thing I could think about was, yeah, I can imagine that with her coming and going at the same time with a smile on your face.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave the body in the floor, walk away, everything's good.
A lot of times I'll drag the body back to my basement for unknown reasons and purposes, but unbeknownst to the public.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, you'd be surprised people are into that, so.
Well, I mean,
you take the volunteers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you take volunteers. We got
only if they pique my interest.
Yeah, but if it's cold outside, it could pique both your interests.
So there may be a mature rating on this podcast after we're done.
There's going to be, oh my God, we thought
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
We thought Sparksies was going to need a disclaimer. Wow.
But yeah, a lot of times, like I said, I did most of my DJing and dancing at a abstract gentleman's club, and a lot of times it was just kind of more like small groups. There's a couple people here and there. It's not a whole big full house kind of thing. So a lot of the times were either if I'm DJing like with Lady Death, or if I take the time at DJ as Tyler, I just be like, oh hey, if I get a tip to a certain amount, I'll just take my shirt off, whatever kind of thing. And it's like, oh hey.
Okay, but see, there's a big difference. Hold on though, there's a big difference going on there. I'd much rather see you without a shirt on than Tyler.
That's fair. A lot of people do.
Wait, hold on. I'm all discombobulated right now. So, when you do the DJing and you do all that stuff, do you do it as Lady Death, or do you have another avatar that you do it with?
I do with either Lady Death or Tyler, my male Abby, depending on the crowd, I suppose, and my type of mental state.
Oh boy, I can just imagine what you're doing from day to day.
Oh man.
People prefer to see LD with no clothes, much rather with Tyler. They just rather see him with no pants. So yeah, it's a niche.
And I don't care anything about seeing Tyler without anything on.
Yeah. We're not talking about Tyler right now.
Yeah, right. Now the thing about it, Z was here. Z wouldn't care because Z's bisexual, so she wouldn't care. She'd be like, "Hey, I don't care." But I kind of have a little bit of a preference. Now Mike wants to see Tyler. Mad Mike, he wants to see Tyler, and he makes no bones about it. But yeah,
they are twink a little bit. They have some. He has some twink energy.
Oh boy! Oh no!
As I stated before, Tyler has like power bottom energy.
Just for more information on the podcast, PK, I think we need to join whatever group that she's involved with, just so we can check it out for the podcast. And that's all. Nothing more than that.
Absolutely.
You know what? It's really funny that I have Discord status is going off the rails on a crazy train. This podcast definitely derailed and spiraled out of control.
And we did it together, BK. We did it together.
Yeah,
Today
yeah.
we derailed it together.
I can top it if you want. I can top it.
Oh, wait a minute.
No one said stop.
Wait a minute. Lady Death is going to top us? Oh, I'm ready for this one.
Top it. I thought she said I could stop it.
Yeah. Please top us.
I have been asked and been requested because I only dance. I'm only a dancer, stripper, whatever you want to give the name. I am not an escort, and I have been begged by people. It's like, you should be an escort. I'm like, how about no? My social anxiety already peaks being on stage. I don't need it behind the doors. And to get it to so severe to where I'm just like, no.
Okay, so you don't want to be an escort. Okay, let's do it for free.
That's respectful, though. I respect that. I respect that.
I mean, but she says she don't want to be paid for it. I'll do it for free.
Man, I gotta get my hearings. Of all the days, my hearings all fucked up today.
I'm sorry. That's what she said. She said her words were, "I could not escort," which means she could not get paid for it. She didn't say she wouldn't do it for free. So hey,
man.
Oh, BK, I don't know if you'd survive the ordeal.
Oh my god.
Oh, challenge accepted.
Oh my god. Whoa, it's not that kind of show, man. We just turned into some type of. I don't know what you call this.
I'm just saying, challenge accepted. Like I said, coming and going at the same time with a smile on my face.
Oh, you'll be coming and going. Oh man. What a fucking derail this is.
I can only imagine if I used my actual promo voice just now.
Oh, please do, because we know that Z is a voice whore. I got to hear this. Do a promo voice for me.
Sweet little BK.
Oh,
okay, that's enough. Okay. I'm done.
It's too early for that.
I'm done. That's it. I'm done. And I know Z is not here, and she's going to be listening to this later on. Z, my dear, my world, I love you to death, but I am marrying that promo voice. Sorry.
Boy.
Sorry. That. Wow.
I think two already beat you to it, dear. Sorry.
Hey, I'm into sharing. I can share. What Hammer said, the voice of LD tickle my. Her voice could tickle anything it wants.
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow.
Hey, I'm just putting it out there. Actually, I kind of think that may be a good time to end the show because I don't think we can.
I don't know if we can survive anymore.
I don't know.
You're allowed to take a breather now.
Yes. You know what? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. Actually, I got to take a shower to go because I actually have to go to work tonight. I'm gonna take a cold shower to get ready for work now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you and I have done crazy promos. We've done crazy storylines. We've done weird shit like in FPW. The one thing I don't think you and I have ever been together is fucking flustered.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, but yes, I do have to get ready for work because I do work for the Nashville Predators, who are a hockey team, and they actually had their last two games tonight and Wednesday. So I do actually have to go to work today. So that is the truth.
Aww.
Hey, I'm off today, so I got all the time in the world today.
Jesus Christ. You talking about me? Okay, yeah, I don't think I don't think I'd be able to do any more of the show right now because Lady Death has
This is going to be so let's just say what I just thought of now, and I had a great idea, BK. This is an amazing idea, and we need to do a after dark show. You know, after dark.
Well, there's an idea. There you go.
Fourth wall after dark episode. You know,
if we do something like that, there is no way we could put that on YouTube.
No, we'll have to put that on like Patreon or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's your golden ticket idea right there.
You know what? I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to come up with, and we need to find, and of course, Lady Death, you're going to be right up there. We need to find the best voices and just have them come in and like do stuff like read bedtime stories, read
Man.
exotic bedtime stories,
I
and
have
things
been
like
told I
that.
have an ASMR voice, so.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All
Oh
right,
man.
I'm being serious. I think we need to end the show on this one. So thank you all once again for putting up with us and listening. Make sure to let us know what you think about the show in the comments. Let us know in our Discord who you would like to have on the show, because we do pay attention to this. Lady Death, this has been a amazing
Yeah,
experience. Thank you
fun. Super
so much
fun.
for coming on.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to
Thank
lie to
you for
you.
having me.
And I'm not going to lie to you. I think with the idea of coming in and just basically doing an adult type show, yes, I want you to be our first guest, just so I can sit back and listen. So and I'm going to mute myself so you can't hear what I'm doing.
Whoa, whoa,
Absolutely,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Tyler.
whoa, whoa. Yeah, end the show, BK. End the show and go to fuck to
Uh,
work right now. All
Thanks, you
right?
guys, for having me. I had so much fun.
all right. Thank you once again. Thank you all for listening. Let us know what you're thinking about it. Join us in Discord. Join us on YouTube. Thank you all very much, and we will see you all next time.